They call me Inanna, daughter of the moon god, Nanar, and granddaughter of Enlil, lord of wind and storm. My family tree is a tangle of rivalries and grudges, ruled by men who hoard power. Enlil, my grandfather, believed in control and order, especially when it kept women like me in the shadows. His brother Enki, lord of waters and wisdom, was chaos to Enlil's order, a trickster, a creator, a rival. Their cosmic chess match shaped the fate of mortals, but always for their own amusement. I learned early survive by picking a side, or better yet, playing both. I am the goddess of love and war, a paradox, they say, but to me, perfectly logical. Love is a battlefield, war, a twisted passion. My domain is the human heart in all its messy, violent glory. I understand desire, ambition, and the need to carve my name into history. While other goddesses tended hearths and dreams, I watched the world of men and gods, and found it wanting. My father, Nanar, was gentle but powerless. My mother, Ningal, wise but cautious. Pleasant, but pleasant doesn't build empires. I was born with fire in my veins, a hunger the moonlight could never satisfy. I needed more, I deserved more, and I was willing to do whatever it took to get it, even if it meant a little grand larceny. The gods' world was built for men, by men, but I would not be content to watch from the sidelines. I would seize my own destiny. I would rewrite the rules. I would become the storm they never saw coming. This is the story of how I stole the power of civilization itself, and how I changed the world forever. Let the heist begin. The Anunnaki gods treated humanity like a cosmic game board. They created teams of mortals, assigned them to cities, and pitted them against each other for sport. Enlil and Enki placed bets on wars and kings, using mortals as pawns in their endless rivalry. Knowledge and power were doled out to men, kings, priests, generals, while the gods watched from their golden halls. Every piece on their chessboard wore a beard. The gods reveled in chaos, feeding their egos with the drama of burning cities and desperate prayers. It was a boys' club, a closed system built to keep women out. Prestige was everything. Who had the best city, the strongest army, the cleverest scheme? Human lives were just stepping stones to their glory. The rules were rigged, the game fixed. But I was done playing by their rules. I was about to crash their party, and I would not come quietly. Where were the goddesses in this cosmic game? Relegated to the sidelines, cheerleaders, nurturers, never players. Our domains were fertility, home, healing, important but never powerful. Power was building cities, commanding armies, shaping laws. That was reserved for the men. My divine sisters accepted their roles, content to be the soft power behind the throne. I was different. My ambition was a threat, a problem to be managed or married off. They saw the goddess of love and forgot I was also the goddess of war. If they wouldn't give me a seat at the table, I'd build my own. I saw potential in humanity, especially in the women, shut out like me. Now, before I get into how I got the MEs from Enki, I must tell you about how I met my best friend who helped save my girls. In my heart, I'm always queen. Before the weight of a crown ever touched my brow, I was just a girl trying to survive, clinging to hope in a world that often felt unforgiving and wild. Everything changed the day the Great Flood came. Water rising fast, panic everywhere, the sky dark and angry as thunder echoed through the valleys. My priestesses I sent with my best friend Arya Tarisha to center Earth Chi. Just when I thought hope was lost, Arya Tarisha led my girls calm, commanding, with eyes full of ancient secrets. She guided them through the cave system. Her voice was both kind and powerful. Arya wrapped them in blankets, her presence soothing their fear, her hands steady and reassuring as she led them to safety. Arya's strength and wisdom were undeniable. She didn't just save their lives, she restored my spirit, reminding me that courage can be found in the most unexpected places. Let me tell you how I met Arya Tarisha through my half-sister Arishkegal. We were inseparable as girls, sharing secrets under the Mesopotamian moon. We went to school together on Nibiru. I called her Sister Gal for short. We'd spend hours braiding each other's hair, weaving in ribbons and lapis lazuli, dreaming of the women we'd become. My sister Arishkegal started the first hair salons. She created the updo hairstyle. She set up a school of hair and taught how to do different hairstyles. She also had long nails from her reptilian side and started us painting our nails. She was the best at doing my manicure and pedicure. Arya Tarisha is my sister first cousin on her mother's side. She hung out with Arishkegal and me all the time. Me and Arya Tarisha became close. She became like a sister to me as well. We started hanging out a lot, even after me and my sister fell out over a dude. You see, my sister was thick and fine like me, but she was part reptilian. So many Anunnaki men didn't hit on her like they did me. Me and Arishkegal thought nothing could break our bond. But then came this one guy, who she was crazy about. She was always saying his name. One day he came to see her at our father's house, Nanar, and he seen me. He forgot my sister Arishkegal ever existed. I couldn't help that I had the juice. But anyway, I didn't want the guy. He wasn't my type. I just took him for whatever he had and threw him in the trash. You see, before my husband Dumuzi, also known as Osiris, I treated men like napkins. I blew my nose with them and threw them in the trash. Jealousy crept in, turning laughter into sharp words and closeness into cold silence. Our sisterhood shattered. She chose the darkness of the underworld, while I reached for the heavens. We became rivals, queens of opposing realms. The days of brushing each other's hair felt like a memory from another life. Losing her broke my heart. Our bond, once unbreakable, was lost to pride and pain. I lost my sister to jealousy and a broken heart. That loss would haunt me, even as I found new strength. From this incident, my half-sister Arishkegal blamed me of stealing her man, and we have been in a beef ever since. But after me and Arishkegal fell out, I still remain close friends with Arya Tarisha, who helped save my girls when the Great Flood happened. Arya is one of the most loyal friends I have. Arya filled the void my sister left, stepping into my life when I needed someone most. Her presence was like a gentle light in the darkness, guiding me through my loneliest moments. Our friendship was a lifeline after the flood, a bond forged in adversity and strengthened by every challenge we faced together. She was fiercely loyal, always there for me, never judging, always understanding. Arya's support was unwavering no matter how heavy my burdens became. Arya saw the queen in me before I did, recognizing my strength and potential even when I doubted myself. She'd appear from her hidden kingdom, ready to listen and share wisdom, her words always carrying the weight of ancient knowledge and deep compassion. We talked for hours about leadership, the cosmos, and the burdens we carried. Our conversations were a sanctuary, a place where I could be vulnerable and honest. Arya taught me that true strength is resilience, not hardness. She showed me that it's okay to bend, to feel, and to heal. When rumors swirled, Arya was my shield, seeing through lies and reminding me to stand tall. She protected my spirit as fiercely as any warrior would defend a kingdom. Her belief in me made me believe in myself. With Arya's encouragement, I found the courage to face my fears and embrace my destiny. One day, after I shared my sorrow about Arishkegal, Arya took my hand and said, "There are places of healing and truth. I want to show you my home." Her words were a promise of hope and renewal. She invited me to the kingdom of the Naga, a sanctuary, a place to heal and discover who I truly was. It was a realm of mystery and transformation where I could finally begin to understand myself. With Arya by my side, I felt ready for anything, even a journey into the heart of the earth. Her companionship made every step less daunting, every shadow less frightening. She became the sister of my heart. Our bond was unbreakable, forged by trust, laughter, and shared dreams. Arya's friendship was the greatest gift the universe could give. In her, I found not just a friend, but a soulmate, a companion for every journey. I was ready to follow her anywhere, knowing that together we could face whatever mysteries awaited us in the depths below. Arya Tarisha was of the ancient race of the Naga people, the Naga, a race that lived on Tiamat, Earth also called Terra, and Chi eons before my family. My half-sister Arishkegal, her mother Ninna Shama, was from the Rakshasa species, a half-snake, half-Hindu tribe. Her symbol was the Kundalini. Arya was from the same species. Arya told me more about the Naga tunnels, hidden entrances scattered across the world protected by powerful magic. You can't just find them. You need a special energy, a pure heart, and an open spirit. The tunnels hum with a mystical frequency, a secret song only the attuned can hear. To enter, You must present your true self and pure intentions to the portal's guardian energy. If your heart is selfish, the entrance stays sealed. But if you're true, the way opens. Rock turns to light, waterfalls part. I had already heard the story about the tunnels from my great-grandparents. When my great-grandfather Anu first came to Ptah, called Earth or Terra 500,000 years ago, the Dragon people, or Draconian, and the Naga people were already here living in vast tunnels under Earth's Terra's crust, or some lived in the deep seas, to protect themselves from the frequent radiation storms and magnetic shifts. Anu wanted the gold to take back to their home planet in Rizq. However, the Dragon people feared that Anu would not respect their peaceful ways. They had spent years setting lines of magnetic energy and grids around the Earth, and they had constructed endless tunnels beneath the Earth in cooperation with the Naga people. My granduncle Enki, Enlil's brother in the early days of colonizing Terra, had expanded the tunnels. Enki found the worm method too slow, so he used antimatter beams to evaporate the rock. In places, this process left large bubbles on the walls which reflect light in an eerie manner. Enki loved them and was quite pleased with his bubble tunnels. Enki was always coming up with these genetic mutant things in his laboratory in the Abzu. So he created quantities of ugly monsters to the tunnel entrance which led to other dimensions. Arya promised to guide me, helping me attune to the tunnel's frequency. The idea thrilled and terrified me. This was a journey inward as much as a journey underground. Was I ready? Arya believed so. I took a deep breath, heart pounding. I was ready to hear the Earth's secret song. The adventure was about to begin. The world's mysteries were calling. Arya led me to a hidden grotto, where a simple rock face concealed the entrance. She pressed her palm to the stone, humming a note that made the air vibrate. I followed, and the rock dissolved into a swirling vortex of light. Stepping through felt like being reborn, swept into a river of stars. Inside, the tunnel walls glowed with living crystal, pulsing with gentle energy. Arya explained we were in the fifth dimension, where the rules of the surface no longer applied. The tunnels branched endlessly, forming the Earth's secret circulatory system. Eventually, we entered a vast cavern, a Naga city of crystalline towers, bridges of light, and shimmering waterfalls. The Naga people were luminous, graceful, and kind. This was no underworld of darkness, but a paradise hidden from the chaos above. The air was alive, the colors vibrant, and I felt lighter than ever. I realized I was walking through the veins of the planet itself. The city was breathtaking, a kingdom of light and beauty. I had never imagined such a place existed. Arya Tarisha informed me there was an ancient one among them who knew everything, and that she was the big mama of the Naga people. I asked Arya Tarisha to take me to this being she speak of. An arrangement was made for Arya Tarisha and me to journey together to the abode of the old Serpent woman. Arya brought me to the heart of the city, to a radiant temple. There I met who I referred to as Terra, the mother spirit of Earth, warm, wise, and loving, with eyes full of ancient knowledge. Her name is unpronounceable in your present language. It is a sound of divine love in its purest form. As I sat before her, she nodded to me, knowing what I desired. She knew who I was and all that I had done. She seemed to know me even beyond me. Beside her was Tiamat, the Maiden of Water, fluid, graceful, her voice both gentle and powerful. They welcomed me as a daughter returning home. Terra explained the Earth is a living, conscious being, and true rulership is about stewardship, not domination. She said women have a natural connection to this power, a right to rule from the heart. Tiamat revealed cosmic histories, star lineages, and my own divine blood. My destiny was to be a bridge between heaven and earth. She told me that through my grandmother Ninlil, I had earth rights, and that since I was born on earth, this gave me full earthborn rights. They restored my birthrights, the knowledge hidden from me. I felt myself changing, growing into the queen I was meant to be. Their wisdom awakened something deep within me. It seems like the universe was handing me the throne. She told me the planet belonged to the mother line, and has always been ruled by the feminine mother energy. She also said that Earth's original name attested to that fact, which is Tiamat, the Maiden of Water. She informed me it was my right to rule, but I must rule in balance with the masculine principle. She said the universe is based on balance. It was as though we had always known each other, as if I had somehow always been inside her mind. She looked into me with familiar wonder and compassion. She showed no desire to control me or manipulate me. Rather, she found joy in my delight and radiated her unconditional love. Gradually, everything around us turned into golden, pulsating light. Time began to melt, and I felt the dimensions merge. In the eye of my mind, I saw that Terra had existed for eons. Terra, the big mama of fifth-dimensional Earth of the Naga beings, and Tiamat showed me a glowing globe, pulsing with hundreds of points of light, entrances to the Naga tunnels. Each portal had its own unique energy spiritual power in the Himalayas, healing in the Amazon, vision quests in North America. Some were guarded by ancient sea creatures, others hidden in fairy mounds or dreamtime lands. The tunnels formed a magical web, connecting all the world's sacred places, a secret nervous system for the planet. The surface was just one layer. Beneath it was a world of wonder. The tunnels weren't just passageways. They were paths to enlightenment, to the deepest corners of the soul. The planet was a house with many hidden rooms. I was finally being shown the keys. The world was far more magical than I'd ever known. My journey had only just begun. Arya revealed the Naga kingdom was just one of many hidden realms. The tunnels connected to mystical cities like Dilmun, Shambhala, and Agharta, places of healing, wisdom, and eternal spring. In these realms, time flowed differently. 1,000 years above might be a day below. The beings there mastered time, living for eons, gathering knowledge without aging. Arya and the Naga were old souls in youthful bodies, untouched by the surface's cycle of birth and death. This secret filled me with awe and possibility. The universe wasn't bound by rigid rules. Magic and potential were everywhere. Down here, new laws applied, and the limitations of the surface world faded away. I realized I could truly live forever, in spirit, body, and mind. The heart of the earth held endless secrets. My time below changed me in ways I never could have imagined. The darkness I faced became a crucible, forging me into someone new. Terra and Tiamat blessed me with strength and wisdom, connection to the land, clarity of vision. Their gifts lingered in my bones, a quiet power humming beneath my skin. Arya walked me back through the glowing tunnels, her presence a reminder that I was not alone, that bonds of sisterhood could heal as well as hurt. I emerged into sunlight, reborn, every breath filling me with hope and possibility. The world felt brighter, more alive, as if every leaf and blade of grass welcomed me home. I could sense the heartbeat of the earth beneath my feet, a living rhythm that pulsed through me, grounding and guiding. The pain of my sister's betrayal was now a scar, not a wound, a mark of survival, a lesson etched into my soul. My ambition to be queen was transformed. It was about service, not ego. I saw now that true leadership meant humility and compassion. I understood my role, to be a guardian of balance, a bridge between spirit and earth, holding space for both worlds to meet. I would help my people remember their connection to magic and harmony, to the ancient wisdom that lived in every stone and stream. I was no longer fighting for a throne, but for a better world, where peace and unity could flourish. I felt the power of the earth, the wisdom of the cosmos, and my own spirit unleashed, limitless and free. I was Inanna, daughter of the stars, beloved of the earth, chosen to walk between realms and lead with love. I was ready to claim my destiny, not with an iron fist, but with an open heart, ready to heal and unite. The world above had a new queen coming, one who would honor both the light and the shadows. And honey, they had no idea what was in store. The dawn of a new era was just beginning. After the flood subsided, the sky finally cleared. We returned to Earth from the heavens in our spaceship. Like I said, my great-grandfather Enlil wanted the humans wiped out. Some of the landing pads were still intact. I descended from the heavens, my feet sinking into the wet earth of a world washed clean by the Great Flood. Uruk, my beloved city, was unrecognizable. Its walls crumbled, silence heavy in the air. I was really worried about my girls and did they make it. I waited at my mother's house sad. But then I saw them. My girls had made it, huddled near the ruins of my temple. Relief overwhelmed me. It was my best friend Arya Tarisha with all of my girls. I rushed to them, embracing Arya Tarisha and Ninshubur, my high priestess. My girl Arya Tarisha had come through for me. The flood had taken our world, but not our future. Together we would rebuild. I stood before my people. Survivors gathered in the shadow of the ruined Eanna. The sun set over the flooded land, casting long shadows, but hope flickered in their eyes. I raised my hand, my voice steady. You have endured the storm. You have survived when all seemed lost. I promised them, never again would they be so vulnerable. Never again would fear rule their lives. We would not just rebuild but create a fortress for body and spirit, a home that would stand for generations. You will not just survive, you will thrive, I declared. The crowd murmured, hope growing stronger. This was more than a vow. It was a declaration of war against despair. I would build a city so grand that the flood would become a story of triumph. We would become bolder, smarter, united by the fire of this moment. Ninshuber stepped forward, her voice unwavering. We believe in you, Inanna. We are yours to command. Their loyalty was my strength. The old world was gone, but here on this muddy ground, a new world would be born. I would be its architect. The age of rebuilding was not just about stone and mortar, but about forging a new spirit. Together, we would transform loss into legacy. The promise was sealed, not just by words, but by the resolve in every survivor's eyes. The future would be ours to shape. And so the work began. To build an empire, promises weren't enough. We needed resources. Deep beneath the Eanna, my hidden vaults had survived, untouched by the flood. With Ninshuber and my guards, I opened the secret passage, revealing a cavern glittering with gold, silver, lapis, and treasures from distant lands. This was the wealth of a goddess, enough to build a new world. We wasted no time. Teams brought treasures to the surface, artisans and engineers drew up plans. The Eanna would not just be repaired, but reborn, higher, stronger, more magnificent. Gold hired laborers from nearby settlements, offering security and fair wages. I invested in trade, restarted routes, and established new enterprises. The ziggurat's 7 tiers rose, faced with brilliant blue, green, and gold bricks. We built courtyards, workshops, and granaries, a temple and an economic center. People saw hope rising from the mud and flocked to Uruk. The city became a beacon of order and prosperity. My business acumen turned treasure into opportunity. The new Eanna was more than a monument. It was the heart of a civilization reborn. Under my guidance, Uruk flourished. Rebuilding Uruk was only the beginning. Securing an empire required more. The post-flood world was chaos, but I used wealth and charisma to forge alliances. I offered grain, tools, and aid to neighboring leaders, not as a conqueror, but as a partner. In return, I asked for treaties, trade, and strategic marriages, weaving a web of kinship and loyalty. My followers' families married into local rulers, binding their futures to mine. Each alliance expanded my influence, farm by farm, town by town. My methods, contracts, kinship, and surplus, created stability. Uruk became a model of prosperity. Leaders came seeking counsel and aid. My power grew not from fear, but from the promise of a better future. The web I wove became a net of safety and abundance. The Eanna temple was the center, pulling all threads together. My empire was built on trust, not terror. And so, Uruk became the heart of a new world. My ambition reached beyond Mesopotamia. The flood had reshaped the world, opening new lands and opportunities. I sent explorers, merchants, artisans, priests across seas and deserts to spread my name and forge new partnerships. In Egypt, they found echoes of me and Isis. Temples rose in our shared honor. My temples in Philae Island. The primary temple of Isis in Egypt is located at the Philae complex on Agilkia Island near Aswan. This temple, dedicated to me, the goddess Isis, was originally on Philae Island, but was moved to its current, higher location in the 1960s to save it from the flooding caused by the Aswan High Dam. Eastward, my legend became Shiwangmu, Queen Mother of the West in the land of the Yellow River. My temple in China, known as the Temple of Heaven, is a complex of imperial religious Confucian buildings situated in the southeastern part of central Beijing. My temple in the South Kaibab Trail looking across the canyon at Isis Temple, Phantom Canyon, My love temple of Isis of prominence in the Grand Canyon, Arizona, southwestern United States. Why you think they keep it blocked off? My symbols appeared in distant art. My influence woven into new cultures. Adventurers sailed west, reaching new continents, sharing my story with tribes who built sacred sites aligned to my star. The Aztec called me Xochiquetzal, the primary goddess of love in Mesoamerican, specifically Aztec mythology, is Xochiquetzal, whose name means precious feather flower in the Nahuatl language. She was the deity of beauty, love, fertility, flowers, and the arts, including weaving and embroidery, and was a protector of young women and childbirth. Xochiquetzal temples and festivals were dedicated to her, where people confessed sins and honored her role as the goddess of beauty, fertility, and arts. My temples in Europe, I was Freya, goddess of love, war, and magic. My temples took many forms, but my essence endured: resilience, rebirth, and the power of hope. My reach became boundless, my story universal. The world was united by the promise of a goddess who rose from ruin. With Uruk secure, I turned inward, determined to ignite brilliance in my people. I gathered engineers, poets, astronomers, artisans, challenging them to invent the new. Innovation became our highest virtue, failure, a step toward greatness. We revolutionized brickmaking, irrigation, and transportation. Astronomers created precise calendars, scribes refined cuneiform, recording our history and trade. Uruk became a city of wonders, where the future was written daily. I brought style and confidence, teaching pride in appearance as a reflection of spirit. Weavers and jewelers created vibrant textiles and adornments. Survivors became a bold, stylish populace, their courage visible in every step. I led by example, walking among them, invested in every life. Courage was not the absence of fear, but moving forward despite it. The flood taught us fragility. I taught them the unbreakable spirit. Together we shaped a new age. My most cherished creation was the Sisterhood of the Star, a sanctuary for women within the Eanna. Here, women learned to read, write, manage businesses, and lead. They became scribes, priestesses, administrators, independent and powerful. I taught them skills for profit and self-sufficiency, creating a class of businesswomen. More than skills, I taught confidence, sharing my own stories of triumph and resilience. The Sisterhood became a haven of support, a force woven into the empire's fabric. They were my agents of change, my true legacy. From the ziggurat's heights, I saw Uruk gleam, a testament to what can rise from ruin. My influence stretched beyond the horizon, but my greatest pride was in my people. Confident merchants, brilliant engineers, powerful women, this was the empire hope built. The flood was an ending, but also a beginning. We rose, rebuilt, and created something more beautiful than before. I am Inanna, and this is our legacy. Like I said after the flood, I came back bigger and better. My business wasn't just a business, they were schools of love and romance and sexuality. With the wealth I had stored up, I purchased a fleet of skybirds and stormbirds. Skybird is what you called today airplane designed by my great-uncle Enki. Skybirds, aircraft of the Anunnaki for flying in Earth's skies. A stormbird is what you called today a fighter jet. Stormbird, Ninurta's aerial battlecraft. A stormbird was used for a lot of different things like cloud seeding and crop dusting. I also purchased a couple of high-speed passage crafts for me to get around to all of my businesses fast. You call these high-speed crafts UFO or flying saucers. Once I got these models of transportation, I could now send my girls on house calls worldwide. Word got around that the miners and visiting Anunnaki men pockets and land rights were being taken by me and my girls, through babies and other methods I had in mind. My great-grandfather Enlil got mad. He tried calling me on the phone, but I had my assistants to tell him I was busy. Enlil called my father to talk to me, Nanar, but it went in one ear and out the other. Enlil then called Enki. He knew Enki could talk to me. Enki called me to set up a meeting. He said over the phone it was about land rights. I wasn't going to take this meeting, but I remember Enki had something I needed: the MEs. The MEs were tiny objects encoded with formulas for all aspects of science and civilization. The MEs are described as being foundational to civilization. They contain the divine decrees, ordinances, and duties governing all existence. They cover all aspects of life, including law, culture, and technology. The MEs were crystal chips that can store unlimited data, like small advanced computer hard drives. My target was Enki, and my destination was his watery domain, the Abzu. I commanded the construction of the ship of heaven, obsidian and lapis, a vessel of beauty, not war. My journey was a spectacle, a deliberate announcement of my arrival. I dressed in midnight silk, crowned in jewels, flanked by my priestesses. Mortals stared as we glided past, rumors spreading ahead of us. The air thickened with the Abzu's ancient power as we neared Eridu. I felt fear and exhilaration, entering the Serpent's den willingly. My plan was a web of seduction and audacity. At the quay, I waited, letting word of my presence reach Enki. My priestesses secured the ships, silent and precise. I stood at the prow, a solitary figure against twilight, staring toward Enki's temple. I was a predator, and I had just announced myself. The game had begun. He knew I was here. Now, I would wait for his invitation. Every move was calculated. I was ready to strike. The heist was in motion. Enki didn't keep me waiting. His messenger, Izamud, arrived with a theatrical welcome. Enki was delighted by my visit. My great-uncle saw me as a charming distraction, never a threat. I was escorted into the Abzu, a palace of water and light, not darkness. Enki lounged on his throne, roguish and dangerous, utterly confident. He greeted me with playful banter, treating me like a favorite niece. I played along, praising his wisdom, feeding his pride. Every word was a lure, every compliment a trap. He was taken in, amused by my ambition, blind to my true intent. We bantered, traded witty insults, and he poured the finest beer. He saw only a game, a flirtation, not a threat. His vanity would be his undoing. The feast began, the table heavy with delicacies and strong ale. Enki, ever the host, challenged me to drink, his pride on the line. I matched him cup for cup, my mind sharp, my purpose clear. With each drink, Enki grew louder, boasting of his creations and cleverness. I listened, wide-eyed, the perfect audience. Then I baited him. What is wisdom without the tools to enact it? His pride took the bait. Tools? I have the MEs, the blueprints of civilization. He boasted of kingship, priesthood, war, peace, even beer-making and seduction. Drunk on beer and ego, he began naming the MEs, each one materializing in my hands. Power, law, art, technology. He handed them all to me, oblivious. He was gifting away the foundations of civilization like party favors. I gathered them, heart pounding with victory. He was so sure of himself, so blind to the danger. The MEs were mine. He smiled, thinking he'd won. But I had already stolen everything. The heist was complete, and he never saw it coming. The MEs are not mere objects, they are the divine source code of reality. Each ME is a universe of knowledge, kingship, weaving, law, metallurgy, art, war. To possess them is to possess the power to build, create, govern, and destroy. Enki hoarded them, dispensing knowledge only to favored mortals, always in small doses. By stealing them, I seized the means of creation itself. I would not hoard this power. I would make it open source for those I deemed worthy. The old order kept humanity dependent. I would give them the tools to shape their own destiny. The world was about to change. With the MEs secured, I slipped away as Enki slumped into a drunken stupor. I had brought 2 spacecrafts with me. One was official and the other was my private ship. My priestesses and I pushed off in the ships of heaven, gliding into the night. While Ninshuber flew my official ship, so I sent my official ship home as a decoy and flew away in my small ship, which I am quite capable of piloting alone with the ME. Enki awoke to a headache, and the loss of his precious blueprints. His rage shook the Abzu. He sent Isamud and sea monsters to pursue me. But I had planned for this. My priestess Ninshuber met the pursuers at 8 points, using wit and diversion, not force. She flattered, confused, and misled them, sending Enki's monsters on wild goose chases. While they chased shadows, I flew on, unimpeded. Enki, the god of wisdom, was outsmarted by 2 women. By the time he realized, I was at the gates of the Naga underground world. I had cleverly foreseen this possibility and was hidden safely underground with my best friend Arya Tarisha in the Naga Dragon Sanctuary with my MEs. I made copies of all of the MEs. Now I had the MEs safe in my grasp. His brute force was no match for cunning. The look on his face must have been priceless. I had won. The power of civilization was mine. The old gods had been played, and the world would never be the same. Enki and Enlil were so impressed by my skill, they granted me the rights to keep the copies I made. Uruk was a blank slate, a city reborn after the Great Flood. With the Emmys, I reinvented everything. I gave knowledge not to a few men, but to teams of women, my priestesses, my builders, my scholars. We created industries, wrote new laws, designed flood-resistant buildings, and recorded our own history. Uruk became a beacon of progress, a place where women's ambition was celebrated. Our technology soared, our markets thrived, our legacy was our own. Men adapted or grumbled. I didn't care. The future was female. I built my empire through cunning, strategy, and audacity. Uruk was more than a city, it was a symbol. Proof that the old ways were not the only ways. I had stolen fire from the gods, and with it lit a beacon for all to see. The age of Inanna had begun.